From Vin Diesel being suspiciously quiet about the whole thing, to Michelle Rodriguez saying that the entire team felt lost without him, this is how the cast of Fast X reacted to director Justin Lin leaving in the first week of production. Let's paint the picture. COVID-19 was still raging on, making everything on set difficult. There was tons of pressure on the production to wrap up fast, but things weren't running on time. Something had to change. Then the studio reacted by ditching the current director Justin Lin and hiring Louis Leterrier as the new director. And boy, was it chaotic. Vin Diesel reportedly had no ill will towards the director. He said that it wasn't an easy time for them or an easy decision, and he had nothing but love for Justin, especially for getting them through the first week of production. But sometimes you just have to find a way to get things done, you know? Leterrier said that by trying to do any movie or show without prep isn't easy, let alone doing the biggest movie in the most popular franchise ever. Initially, he didn't even think he could do it, but slowly, Louis started going over Justin's work, from his shots to the storyboards, and tried to absorb as much of it as he could. Once he found his ground, though, things got easier from there. To top it all off, he had the best crew in the world, Justin's crew, and they were all in sync from the get-go. For Leterrier, directing French shows was like driving a little Renault, but Fast and Furious was like a Dodge Charger that had everything tuned already. There was just so much horsepower. Now, Louis might be amazing at what he does, but you've got to admit, Lin's the one who carried the franchise to greatness. The guy first got involved in the movies when he directed the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, and we all remember how big of a hit that was, right? He then directed the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 9th installments in the series, and was supposed to direct the 2-part finale as well before he had to leave the director's role in Fast X. I mean, the man's responsible for introducing Han's character into the franchise, who immediately became a fan favorite, and even brought him back for F9, even though he had allegedly died in Tokyo Drift. He's perfect.
I see what's going on.
See what?
You got that little stardust in your eyes, huh? Little birds floating around a little bit.
Back in 2022, the director said that over 10 years, they had shot some of the best stunts, best actors, and mind-blowing car chases ever. He's proud to have built an incredibly diverse franchise in movie history. Justin added that he'll forever be grateful to the cast, crew, and studio for their constant support, and for welcoming him as part of the Fast family. Aww, isn't that just beautiful? Now, Lin hasn't exactly left the franchise, because he's still working as a producer on the movie, but fans hope he comes back to direct the last film in the saga, because, let's face it, no one can do it better than him. But the one question on everyone's mind is, why did Lin leave the movie in the first place? Well, technically it was because of creative differences between him and Diesel. At least that's what Universal told everyone. But according to recent rumors, it was probably Vin's behavior on set that made the director want to leave the director's role. And I don't blame him, because the actor was allegedly showing up late to set, couldn't remember his lines, and not to mention extremely out of shape. Justin added that all this back and forth with Vin took a huge toll on his mental health, and he had no choice but to step down. And considering that he left a whopping $10 million paycheck is enough to tell you it's gotten pretty bad. Vin chose to remain silent about the allegations, but just said that he had no ill will towards the director and thanked him for his contributions to the franchise. I don't know about you, but I smell something fishy going on here. But did you know that Universal allegedly spent around $1 million every day just to keep the movie in production after Lin left? Even then, the team could only work on the second unit of the movie until the studio found his replacement for the main part. And considering that they brought on stars like Brie Larson and Jason Momoa, any more delays would have come with costly changes to accommodate their schedules. Yikes, that's a whole lot of money they were losing. But fortunately, Louis Leterrier came to the rescue. You'll be surprised to know that Leterrier was the first person Universal chose to replace Lin. And while he isn't Justin Lin, the guy brings a whole bag of experience. Leterrier first broke into the industry by directing several action films like Jet Li's Unleashed and Jason Statham's Transporter 2, but it was The Incredible Hulk and Clash of the Titans that helped him transition to studio tentpoles. After hitting a box office snag with The Brothers Grimsby, the French filmmaker turned to television and directed 2 hit Netflix series, The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance and Lupin. So you can say that the movie isn't exactly in terrible hands. And wait till you hear about how Leterrier became the director. The poor guy went into panic mode the minute he got the call from Universal. It's true, he got the call in the middle of the night when he was in Paris. X and just assumed it was a butt dial and said he'd call them tomorrow. But Universal told him to get back to them quick and that he had been chosen to direct Fast X. Leterrier later recalled that he was white as a sheet and went into panic mode seconds after the call ended. The dude was so overwhelmed that he thought he'd made a huge mistake by agreeing to direct the film. I don't blame him, because one day he's peacefully sleeping in bed, and 4 days later, he's on the set of Fast X as the director. It would have been daunting for anyone in his shoes. But even on set, when he went through all the material Justin had left, he got cold feet again, because this was a franchise that he loved and admired. But the complexity of trying to weave together and balance 10 storylines was a lot to deal with. He was able to gather his wits in the end, though, and commit to the project ahead of him. So chances are that the film won't be a huge disappointment when it burns rubber through theaters in 2023. But fans of the franchise, on the other hand, are worried about its future. Lewis might be a good director in his own right, but fans are worried that he's just going to end up being a yes man to Vin and Universal, then destroy Lynn's meticulously laid out groundwork for the franchise. Some of the comments about the director are straight up brutal. One fan said that it looks like they just hired a cheap yes man who will do everything that Universal asks him to, with another saying that this is exactly what Vin Diesel wants. And honestly, I don't think they're wrong at all. Lynn and Vin had a falling out because of their creative differences and Vin's behavior. If Leterrier really is a yes man, then Diesel's hit the jackpot. Now no one will challenge his ideas anymore. Another fan took a jab at the director, saying that even though he has a net worth of $14 million, all his movies... Yikes. Leterrier better hope he's done enough, because the fans sure as hell won't let him live it down, ever. But hey, at least he has the Fast X cast's support. Now, even though Michelle Rodriguez had high praise for Leterrier, she admitted that when Lynn left, the entire team felt a bit lost. But as soon as Lewis came on board, it was like new life had been breathed into the production. The actor said that he brought this energy of love with him, and it was a first for all of them to have someone on the team who was a real fan of the franchise.
Can you tell us, what are you going to bring to the franchise?
I am the biggest fan of the franchise. So it's been 22 years in the making.
They just knew that this guy was willing to take the saga to new heights. She added that they've been going on for 20 years now, and it can become pretty jaded and repetitive, with most of them forgetting why they were even doing it in the first place. Then a guy like Leterrier comes along and reminds you that this is beautiful and magical. The entire cast just feels lucky to have him on the team. Aww. Now, since Leterrier brought on board his own French creative team, Rodriguez jokingly said that this film is going to be the French Fast and Furious. Hey, I honestly like the sound of that. Anyway, the actress added that everyone on their special effects team, from the guys who did the fights to the directors and assistant directors, are all French. It's literally a French takeover. Even though Leterrier took over the role, he plans on honoring Lynn's vision of the franchise, and his fingerprints will be all over Fast X. So there you have it, from Michelle Rodriguez saying that the entire team felt lost without Lynn, to Vin Diesel saying he has no ill will towards the director. This is how the Fast X cast reacted to Justin Lin leaving the first week of production.
Or, I don't know, just being scared to come into it, because there's a lot of heavy hitters in this, and I knew my first scene was like Charlize too, and I was like, oh god. Like, just, I haven't worked, there's only been a few amount of actors where I've worked on that level. But I was really excited, and I hadn't played a villain in a very long time.